Tonight, when you look up at the sky, you expect to see the moon or a scattering of stars. But imagine walking outside tomorrow morning and finding the sun replaced by a cold, pale ghost of itself. The year was 536 AD, and the world suddenly went dark. A massive cataclysmic volcanic eruption had blasted millions of tons of ash straight into the stratosphere. For 18 months, a thick, impenetrable veil of dark dust blocked out the light of the sun. Midday felt like twilight, and the familiar warmth of the seasons completely vanished from the earth. The crops failed completely because photosynthesis became entirely impossible under the black cloud. Then the global temperatures plummeted, triggering the coldest decade the human race had seen in thousands of years. What happens to the human mind when the one constant in the universe suddenly stops working? Without the reliable cycles of morning and night, our ancestors lost their absolute anchoring in reality. Historical chronicles from Ireland to China recorded a terrifying era where bread was scarce and winter lasted forever. In the Mediterranean, the Roman procurator Procopius wrote that the sun gave forth its light without brightness, like the moon. People began to believe that the cosmos itself was dying, or that a vengeful deity had abandoned humanity. As the months dragged on, the lack of sunlight began to systematically break down human biological clocks. Without vitamin D and proper sleep cycles, communities plunged into profound physiological depression and chronic fatigue. In China, massive summer storms destroyed the harvest across multiple provinces, causing unprecedented famine. The historical texts record that the stars became dim and the sky looked as if it were permanently covered in blood. Society began to splinter as starving populations rioted over the dwindling remains of stored grain. This was not a brief weather anomaly, but an existential filter that pushed the human species to its absolute limit. In Europe, the weakened, starving populations became the perfect breeding ground for the first major outbreak of the bubonic plague. The plague of Justinian swept through the Byzantine Empire, decimating up to 1/3 of the entire population. The endless darkness did not just kill the crops, it actively shattered the political boundaries of the ancient world. Nomadic tribes from Central Asia were forced to migrate southward, fleeing the frozen landscapes of their traditional homelands. This mass movement triggered violent collisions with established empires, rewriting the geopolitical map forever. In Scandinavia, archaeological records show that up to 80% of villages were completely abandoned during this dark epoch. Some historians believe this prolonged apocalyptic winter gave birth to the Norse myth of Fimbulwinter, the precursor to Ragnarok. The physical world had become a living nightmare where survival was no longer guaranteed by hard work. It forces us to confront a terrifying reality about the modern systems we take for granted every single day. Our current global food supply chains rely on a highly predictable and perfectly stable planetary climate. A modern volcanic supereruption or a nuclear winter could plunge our hyper-connected world into instant chaos. If the sky went dark tomorrow, would our society find a way to survive, or would we collapse into the dark, just like they did? Explore The Blueprint and subscribe to uncover the lost systems of human history.